we're going to talk about the Panthers and that coveted 6th pick. There's so many scenarios, so many situations, so many ways to go. What will they do? Dave, we're going to start with you. At number 6, let's say the Panthers do not trade down. What is the pick? You don't have to give me the specific player, but you can give me the position or whatever you want to do. If the Panthers do not trade, what is the most likely scenario that they will pick? Not what you want, but they will pick.
Yeah, I mean, the pick is 100% if they don't trade back, which I think is what they'll do. The pick is 100% a quarterback or tackle. I mean, there's nothing else they can do. I mean, they are locked in on those positions. They have no choice based off the way last season went and, well, the last couple seasons it went. I mean, they don't have a choice. So I think for sure, if one of those top tackles fall, if Evan Neal falls, I think there's a good chance that's the pick. I think if Kwanu falls, I think there's a good chance that's the pick. But, outside of those two guys, for me, it's got to be Malik Willis, right? I think that's the only quarterback anyone will consider taking that high.
And I agree with everything you said there. And I feel like a lot of people are mocking Kenny Pickett to the Panthers because it just seems the Panthers want to win now. Here's the thing. We've discussed this multiple times in the show, is that you've got two conflicting sides, really. You've got a head coach and a owner that want to win now. I wouldn't really call it go on a limb here, but I would say you've got a front office that is looking to keep building a team and not necessarily give everything up. I know they did give up picks last year. I think that was more of a Matt Rule call than a Scott Fitterer call. I stand by that. So you've got two sides. You got people that want to win now and then people that want to keep building. So where do you go? Obviously, if you go with tackle, I feel like you can't get that pick wrong. If you pick one of those three guys that they're there, I mean, it's almost as solid and as surefire of a pick as you're going to get. The Panthers haven't had a good left tackle since 2013. It doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. They have not had a good left tackle since Jordan Gross retired. So that's a good place. You can't really get that pick wrong unless the player's a bust. But I feel like the consensus would be if the Panthers, no matter what they do at quarterback, if they pick one of these left tackles, I couldn't see a fan or a expert being upset with that pick. So let's say they don't go left tackle. For me and you, we like the Malik Willis pick because we think he's the best quarterback and we think he has the most potential. And those are the two best things that you want to see whenever you're going for a pick for a franchise quarterback. I like the pick, and I hope they pick him personally, but I just don't see Matt Rule saying, I don't have time to try to develop a guy. I need to win now to save my job. But then again, the front office is saying, we're not worried about saving your job. We're trying to save our jobs and do what's best for the team. And it just really creates a tough situation to be in, because if you pick Kenny Pickett, you know he's going to be a starter. You know he's probably going to be a solid quarterback. But I know, people that watch the NFL know, you can't be just a solid quarterback and compete to win. It's just not going to work. You've got to have an elite quarterback. And in my opinion, if you want to have the chance to have an elite quarterback and to have a guy that's going to light up your franchise, you got to go with the guy that's got the most potential. If he sucks and he's a bust, okay, then he sucks and he's a bust, and we're set back for a couple of years. But I would rather take the guy that's got the most potential to be a star than a guy that's got already kind of at his ceiling, not a lot of room to work, and just give me Kirk Cousins for the next 10 years when I could potentially have Josh Allen, Cam Newton light quarterback mix. That's my opinion.
Well, here's the thing, Tanner. What can Kenny Pickett do that Sam Darnold can't do? If you pick Kenny Pickett, you're picking another Sam Darnold. They're almost the same player. Matter of fact, Sam Darnold would, if he was coming out in this draft class, would be seen as the better player.
He would be.
what do you gain by picking a Kenny Pickett? I don't think there's any way the Panthers are going to go
I
there.
think the way what they're might I'm not saying when I see what they're saying, I'm saying what the analysts say, even though they don't know anything. They're seeing him as the surefire, like, pick to be the most solid pro ready quarterback, which if you look at last year, I guess you could say he's the Mac Jones of the group, which Mac Jones had a solid year, but he didn't do anything that made you go, holy shit, this guy, we missed on him. I mean, you could go that route, but I, I just don't know why you'd want to do that. And it's not like, even if the Panthers pick Kenny Pickett, I don't think that makes them like a contender in the AFC. I mean, they could be like a wild card team, but I don't see them with that move being like, yes, this is the move that's going to get us to the top of the division. It's just
No,
not going to happen.
no, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, you pick him, and you basically have two Sam Darnolds on your roster. It's not like you're gaining anything. You draft a Malik Willis, and then you instantly have the third or fourth best running quarterback in the league on your roster. Fourth or fifth, top five, we'll say. Top five best running quarterback, in the league on your roster. This is a guy who, by a lot of measures could probably be a top, 4-round running back. I mean, the dude is great on his feet. He runs hard. In a lot of ways, he reminds me of, I think I've said this on here before, like a Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, combination. He's low to the ground, but he's well balanced. He runs hard. He's not scared to be physical. I think, if you draft a guy like that and then you tailor your offense around him the same way the Ravens did with Lamar Jackson when he was young, they let him sit the first year. When he comes in the second year and he balls out because they build an offense around him. Their offense is run first, a lot of play action passes, a lot of read option passes, and it opens up these windows where you can either take advantage of the defense trying to cheat up on the run, or if they decide Malik Willis is burning us with his arm, we can run the ball. And we saw the Panthers for years with Cam Newton. So if you take a guy and you surround him with the right offense and put him in a good situation where he can succeed, this guy has the tools to be something special. And I think, ideally you want to sit him for that first year. If that becomes impossible because of the way the season's going and you need him out on the field, you can at least tailor your offense so you're running the ball a lot. You're running, wildcatish type of offense where it's a lot of read option runs, and it's like you don't have to worry about him reading the defense as much. You just have to worry about him tucking the ball and getting 4 yards, or him making a proper read on a defensive end and handing the ball off. You don't
Yeah.
have to put him in there and say, go read this defense in a, traditional pro style offense, and tell me, what the coverage is and find the guys in the holes. You can do different things with a quarterback like this.
Yeah. I mean, I agree 100%. And I also kind of want to bring up the fact that, let's say they pick Malik Willis. Okay, maybe he's not ready to go day one. That's fine. Bring back Cam Newton. You've got him. You've got Cam Newton, Malik Willis, PJ Walker, Sam Darnold. Let them fight it out and see what happens. Because to me, if I'm a professional athlete, if they told me, hey man, you're going to be the quarterback of this team, and then I don't have a good year, the next year they pick a quarterback in the first round, I'm going to be pissed, and that's going to light a fire under my ass. And I'm like, look, y'all don't think I can do it? Let me show you what I can do, and have a 4-way competition to see who's going to be what position and start where. I mean, just because you have guys doesn't mean he has to start day one. And I know people say, oh, Matt Rule, he's got to win now. He's got to win now to save his job. At the same time, if he picks a Malik Willis, maybe they don't start out so hot. Maybe later on in the season, they play him. He starts to play well. They win a couple games. That's something you can tip your hat on. Hey, I drafted this guy. I vouched for him. We put him in at the end of the season. Look what he was doing. this next year is going to be our year. So it does give you something to possibly hang your hat on, even if you don't end up winning a ton of games, to say, hey, look what this kid did. I picked him, and you know, he was exciting. He played well. And I feel like a pick like Malik Willis is what's going to be exciting for the franchise and for the team because of all the potential and what's there. I feel like if he got drafted, you're going to have Robbie Anderson hype. You're going to have DJ Moore hype. You're going to have Terrace Marshall hype. If you bring in a guy like Pickett, it's just going to be like, yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, even a Matt Corral, I mean, he's got a little bit of personality to him and he can throw. He's got a hell of an arm. I mean, at least you got to give us something to get excited about. And I feel like that's a Kenny Pickett pick. And guy, I feel like I'm really shitting on the guy. I'm not trying to. I think I don't know him personally. If he may be a fine quarterback, he may be. I just don't feel like it's the right pick for this situation, even though it might happen.
Yeah, like I said, it just feels like a sidestep. You know, you have Sam Darnold on the roster that's basically the same guy. So if you're going to go after a quarterback, man, you need to swing for the fences as we've been saying. And but I think if I'm being upfront about it, as much as I like Malik Willis, I think I like the idea of trading back and getting Matt Corral in the second round, or Desmond Ritter in the second round, along with garnering some picks. I might like that idea more than I like taking a Malik Willis at 6. But if you're talking about we have to take somebody right now with this pick, who do you want it to be? Then yes, I would like it to be Malik Willis. But, who knows? We might be able to trade back and still grab Malik Willis. Who knows?
I think they could. I mean, if they go back, you don't want to go too far back. If they're at 6, I think the furthest they'd want to go is maybe like anywhere between 7 and 15, 16, and none of those teams there really scream quarterback to me. I mean, it's possible, but I mean, I feel like it's entirely possible if you want to drop back 6, 7, 8 picks, and then you could still have a chance at your guy, and you've got an additional second or third round pick. I think that's entirely possible. And I am in the same camp as you with saying that, I wouldn't mind a trade back. I think it would be good because I think there's some, as long as they don't go too far, they're still going to get a guy that can come in and impact and help right away. And I look at a guy like a Desmond Ritter or a guy like Sam Howell, where you could get a guy late in a second or a third, and you can see what happens. And then if it doesn't work out, hey, this guy was a second round pick. We took a chance. Maybe he's not what we thought he was. And you know what? That's that. So, I mean, there's options to play with. I'm sure the Panthers have been in talks with people about, who they might trade back with. I'm fine with a trade back, and I think they can get a player they like if they don't go too far back, maybe 6, 7 picks total. You don't want to go too far deep because you don't want to get leapfrogged by the Saints or the Steelers or, those are kind of the only teams that really – maybe the Commanders, maybe they would take a quarterback, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're certainly a team to keep an eye on. I think Seattle and Atlanta as well, right behind us really, because, Atlanta's, got Mariota for this year, but they don't know what they're doing after that. And then Seattle obviously just lost Russell Wilson. So those are two teams to keep an eye on, at the top of that list. And then, like you said, the Steelers and the Saints closer to the bottom of the list are a couple teams to keep an eye on. But, the way the things lay right now, if the Panthers like a guy enough to make him their next quarterback, then, go for it, So do what you got to do. But, it's probably best case scenario that they trade back, get some of those picks back,